Say Anything was like our first video, and we were nervous, and it was, you know, whatever. It was fun.
Eat the cookie! Eat the cookie! Eat the cookie! Eat the cookie! Eat the cookie!
You're actually eerily and perversely good at this.
Yes! Thank you very much!
I won't say anything, but...
Then we did the second video, which was Decided to Break It.
Roll camera, and playback!
All the broken hearts that hang about here, and all the sick things that make you pull out your hair. Nothing left to think, I'll probably sit around and ignore.
We did this whole ridiculous potato sack racing video.
Always find a way to break things. That's when I decided to break it.
And then we were out of money. We had no more money for videos. So we did the last video totally on favors. It was like super low budget. And I remember we were all talking, and it was like, let's do it like a musical, like an old 30s musical, like Singing in the Rain or something. And then we'll sort of juxtapose it with trying the same scenario again, but if it were in real life, and how people would actually respond if you sang and danced your way down the street. And it turned out really funny.
Try a little more, little more, little more. You slap you like a bitch and you take a Lego.
I didn't think it was going to, because it was like we had no money. And it was also a day shoot. It was outside. It was a rainy day in Vancouver, so we had no lighting. It was just like brutal.
And here's our makeup and hair team. There's John. And there's just a lineup of folks over here waiting to get bid.
Nobody in that video got paid. Everybody in the video did it as a favor. They were all friends of ours. But that video, people liked it because it was just so ridiculous. I guess a lot of bands try and look like cool and dangerous in videos and stuff, and obviously we don't. And that video came out, and it went into the countdown, and I remember us all being like, oh my God, we have a video in like the Much Music countdown. That's crazy, wow. I remember like I would check back every week and be like, oh my God, it's rising. And I kept thinking it was gonna get to like 29 and then fall off, and it just kept slowly going up. It would only go up one spot at a time too, so it took forever, but it finally got to that #1 spot. And it was a really surreal feeling. You know, on the one hand, you've waited your whole life for that moment, so you kind of, it's almost like, how can it not happen at that point? But then on the other hand, it's like you never really thought it was going to, so then when it does, you don't really even know how to how to handle it. It was cool. It was a neat experience. The second record was called Masterpiece Theater.
Those are all the same, still away from me. Another day, another dollar that I'll never see.
The way that title happened, first of all, was I wrote this one song, and I always jokingly referred to those sort of Bohemian Rhapsody style songs as like little masterpieces. So I didn't have a title for this one that I was working on, so my joking working title was Masterpiece Theater, just like, you know, I would never actually call a song something. And then the title just kind of stuck, so we stayed with it. The concept of that album is I wanted it to feel like you went to a musical. The most important thing to me on that record was that this time we needed to get radio.
Wonder why, let you resurrect whatever you want.
So for songs that sounded like they were going to be singles, Ian stopped bashing on the crash cymbals and went to hi-hat instead, and Matt and I turned down the distortion on the guitars. So we went a little cleaner because we realized that the style of songs that I wrote melodically were closer to pop songs than they were to rock songs, so we just pushed it a little bit more to the side.
Step 1, step 2, step 3, repeat. And I pray at the church of will not disappear without a beat.
I think the first full-on serious video we did would probably be Beside You, I guess.
I'll be right beside you.
I was a little uncomfortable when we did it because I hadn't done that before in a video. So it felt like more of a risk for me to do that, which is funny because everything we do is almost always a risk anyway, so. But that was the first time we couldn't just be like, or whatever, you know. It was cool, it was fun, but my favorite part of shooting that video was hilarious, and it had nothing to do with being serious anyway, I suppose. But like, we rented these timpani from this guy, because Ian like has this like, the only thing Ian does in the song is go like ga ga gum or whatever. So we rented this timpani from this guy, but he stayed on set all day, and like obviously timpani was this guy's reason for existing. Like, he would step in between the shots and give Ian advice on how to play it to make it sound better. And I was like, you know, we've already recorded the song, right? Like, you know, music videos, you're not doing it live, right? And you know, he is a drummer and he actually knows how to play this thing, right? Yeah, man, but if you do it like this. And eventually he actually, without telling any of us, went through hair and makeup so that he was like camera ready. And he would like get in there between every shot and it would eventually be that he was like only out of the frame by like an inch. And then as soon as they called cut, he'd jump in and shine his timpani again. He wouldn't leave, and he was just this insane timpani guy. And I keep threatening Ian that we're gonna hire that guy to be his drum tech, and I'm sure Ian would quit if we did that.
Don't patronize, I realize I'm losing and this is my real life.
I never invent. Some writers will go to that place where they just sort of invent things or write little narratives about other people or something.
Please just follow me, I thought you wanted me 'cause I want you all to myself.
It's a very uncomfortable and vulnerable thing to go to, because it's sort of like you're letting people read your diary.
And I know this isn't enough, I still don't measure up.
So sometimes if it's something that's very personal to me, I'll still talk about it in a song, but I might sort of wrap it in metaphor a little bit more so it's not quite so to the point.
And I do want you to know I'll hold you up above everyone.
You have to keep something for yourself sometimes too. And honestly, the key for me is never write a song based on what you think someone else wants you to do. Like, I just kind of want to write the songs that I want to write. You got to write for you, and as soon as you're writing for someone else's expectations, you're not really doing it for the right reasons anymore, you know? When it came to Ever After, all of a sudden we had real expectations to worry about.